I told him, first of all, we probably couldn't have a bigger contrast between the opening game to the second game. These guys, Jeff Horton, their offensive coordinator, I've known for years. They do a unique thing. You know, they're a little bit like Stanford. They create gaps. They're physical. They're big on the line of scrimmage, and you've got to fit the run. And you've also, when I say create gaps, you're going to see them use a lot of what we call Y and U motion, and they create gaps trying to get you displaced. And then once you load up, then all of a sudden they're going to try to throw it over the top. So it's you got to be very disciplined. You got to be very physical, and you got to be a little bit unpredictable in giving them the looks up front without hurting yourself.
You mentioned going over the top. With a lot of those little play action underneath routes that they run from the I formation, what do you tell your guys in kind of not getting lost on that?
Well, I mean, if you look at a lot of them, 22 is their number one formation. That's two backs, two tight ends, one wide receiver. And I would say the majority of their routes are two, sometimes three receiver routes. And so they're what we call deep crossers, climbs, and those things. And also you got the fullback in the flat. You've got to pass things, combination. It's been a little bit weird, and I've always believed this. It helps you. Even in scale, we've worked their route combinations because you're passing and you're coming, but the biggest thing, you got to protect the top. If you keep, if you remember last week a couple of times on third down, they're running the meshes and with a top. We protected the top well and made the play on the meshes. So it's very similar.
How would you describe Rashad Penny,
We looked at him. We said last year in the summer when we did our summer scouting report, we thought what a combination he was with Pumphrey's. He's bigger. He's 220 pounds, kick returner, tells you something about his hands. In their championship game against Wyoming, they flexed him out at wide receiver. And that sort of tells you what they think about him. And Jeff has been around, Ron Dane. He's been around some good players. And so it tells me that he's pretty special. He's definitely an NFL back. And they have a young guy that I'm familiar with from Texas named Washington, number 29, that played last year. They had three backs last year. When they beat Houston in the Las Vegas Bowl, I mean, it was a triple threat. They had 20 and 19 and 29, and they're all talented.
I wanted to ask you about Daz. He, basically played special teams here for the 2 years previously. What is it that's sort of allowed him to get, to where he is right now in his career?
I told Daz today, it's funny you asked that. I said, you're here just because I have nobody else. And I was just joking with him. But, he came in the spring and missed early spring, so I really didn't know a lot about him. And then he came back for the last 6 or 7 practices? He had a core injury. And he came back, and I went, wow, this guy's got some suddenness. He's got some explosion. And he really made us better in the spring. And, it's important to him. And, one of the guys, last week we talked about it. I mean, you take Colby and you take Daz, you take Joey, and you take Chad. None of them, Chad has started one game. And so our inexperience factor was out there. And I thought that Daz really did I thought all of them did, but when the game was in the balance, he really made some nice plays. Dropped a pick. It would have been he read it. It was smooth. It was, just like you draw it up, and it probably would have been another touchdown. But I think he has a chance to elevate his game.
In a game like this, he's going to have to come up and defend against the run, right?
You've got to swarm tackle these guys. The other thing that we've been spending time on is pursuit. Your angles. If you're a backside guy and they break the line of scrimmage, the teams that have beaten them have done an unbelievable job of running, taking a 40-yard play to a 20-yard play. Does that make sense? just on pursuit angles. So, the one of the things they do also is they make your corners tackle. I mean, they have a way of making, by their shifts and their motions, so, trying to isolate guys in your secondary.
So based on that answer, do you think a game like this may be more challenging to the secondary compared to, let's say, Texas Tech and their
It's a different type game. It's really to me it reminds me of preparing for Kansas State. You just now with what's a little bit harder at Kansas State is they have quarterback run game, and these guys are more tailback oriented. I don't know if you've watched any tape, but it's been years. I know when we played Michigan State when I was at Baylor, and their tailback would get about 7. This guy's at 9. I mean, he's at 9 yards deep. So it gives you a lot of avenues, cutbacks, and it's an issue. We had 10 missed tackles in 93 snaps. You'll take that. Had a big missed tackle on one of the bubbles. If you remember, Jamarcus Rhodes was out there, and Daz. We had. I can sort of give you a rundown. We had 3 what we call critical errors. One of them was a long run. Christian thought it was a different call. We had nobody on that side. We misaligned, and we also misaligned on the flare pass. That at the end of the game. But I thought in the balance of the game, Doug, I thought we played well. I mean, we did some things we wanted to do. When we got from the 14 to 13 for 20, I figured it up. I'm sort of 24, 25 minutes of the second half. We were dead into it. I mean, we took the lead and we were in, and then we made a couple of really critical errors. And I thought we tackled well for most of the night.
Ryan Newsom said yesterday that he thinks that Juwan Washington, their second-string running back, could be even more difficult to tackle than Henny. What are your impressions of him and what he does well in the league?
He's quick. He was. I know him because I recruited him at Baylor. He's 5'7". He's just a gem of a kid. I know that. He. I was shocked we didn't take him at Baylor. His teammate is at Ohio State, had also committed to us at Baylor, a linebacker. I coached his father, so I know a lot about him. Special kid. He's fast, probably 10.6, 10.7, 100 meters. Just a workhorse. Great kid. Works hard. Change of direction guy. Can catch the ball. He's a good player. Yes, we do. We do. We expect to have him back this week. Sure do. The what now?
One aspect was the biggest surprise in your mind last week?
I think we talked about this. There was a lot of unknowns. I mean, I don't know if my 40 years, if I've ever, I thought we would do, I thought most of the night, like I said, when the game was in the balance, I mean this, some of it, I wanted to see some stuff. When we got the lead, I got very calm. I mean, we quit doing, I just wanted to get through it in confidence, and it really didn't help us. I did it. But I thought for most of the night, we got the calls. We tackled fairly well. It was nice to see Kobe and Joey make some plays, that helped us. We had 15 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 3 interceptions. So I thought we did some things that will help us get where we want to get.
Coach, you said before the game you were a little unsure about the safeties, more so than the cornerbacks. Do you think after the game when Jamarcus played pretty well, you have a different opinion about that now?
Well, I think, if you were in here, this is a journey. It's a process. And some people say, boy, you're so much better from the first game, the second game. Yeah, if you make corrections and you do things that help you, like I said, we had 3 critical errors, what I call unforced errors that were inexcusable, and so we've got to get better with that. When people ask me, why didn't you sub earlier? I tell you the truth, I did not know we played 50-something plays the first half. I didn't know that. But I also, Todd and I talked about it, and I told him, I didn't see New Mexico State subbing anybody. I mean, and the game was in the balance, and I was proud. I thought our guys played hard. You know, I thought we were in good shape. You know, which wasn't surprising, but I thought we can grow on that.